everyone, Mackie here, and welcome each and every one of you to the First Stand Report. My name is Mackie itself, of course, and I will be your guide to almost every single League of Legends match from First Stand 2026, from the opening bell until the finals, which is going to take place on Sunday. I am reporting on March 16, 2026 at 7:13 p.m. on a really rainy, really windy downtown Port Antonio in Jamaica. And how are you guys? How are you, everyone? Because I'll tell you what, day one of this entire thing was an absolute cinema, to say the least, especially our opening game here. Now, as you all know, I have the notes for all the games. I decided to take down all the notes, all the crazy things that happened throughout the game. I should have timestamped it, of course, but I decided I don't think timestamping is important. Of course, I will pick up the details as this will go on. I will do that for every single game of the series, of course, and then I will have my player of the game. And at the end of the series, I will have my 3 stars of the game. By the way, 3 stars of the series, and my Timu of the series, or Timus of the series, of course. And then, of course, I will have how is this series being impactful in the grand scheme of things? Whether it's that impactful, whether it's not, how do you know? And then, of course, I will talk about tomorrow's matchups, of course, which, by the way, is JDG versus Gen G and Loud versus Lion. And I will have, there's an article, of course, talking about the impact of Brazilian League of Legends in more full. So, with that being said, it is time to begin the chaos. And it's time to begin with a report with FearX versus BLG. If I were to rate this series, I will give this series a 3 out of 5 out of 5. Because I believe the series was pretty good, although you can say that 2 players really crapped the bed in most cases. And 1 player has to pull the entire team on his back, literally. Which by the way, Psychopathic Poros pretty much said it best. Wherever Diablo goes, the FearX team goes as well. And that shows the entire series. So in terms of a high quality series is not the greatest, of course, but in terms of the upset factor, holy cow, it was nearly there. It was nearly the biggest upset of First Stand so far. And I will tell you that in details. So before that, I would like to have a website recommendation, by the way, another one. I've already talked about LOL Analytics, I talk about Gold.gg, and I talk about all the other websites that I've been using throughout the First Stand, but there's another website I want to use, and that is the beautiful friends at RFT.gg. They are the, let's just say the HLTV of League of Legends, of course, with forums and news from, let's call it, sources. And by the way, I already gave my rankings for this entire series on different players and comment about them, of course. There's also news. There's pick'ems, by the way. I did not even know that. I shouldn't have done a pick'ems throughout the tournament, but I digress. Stupid me. There is a lot of stuff, of course. There's details, and of course, there's a rating based on community ratings, of course. So this is a really good website you want to follow. So if you want to, I will link the description below on and how to go to that website, sign up with your Riot account, and then, unfortunately, if you do not involve in the Pick'em tournament, well, that's too bad. But if you do, you might get some sweet, sweet prizes. Amount of dollars, all that kind of stuff. So please, go to this website. It's fun. It's pretty cool. And this is going to help me throughout all of First Stand with the champions, details, and yeah. So, let's get to game 1, which is absolutely a nothing burger, in my opinion. So, yeah, BLG chose red side, and FearX will blue side. In fact, it was BLG first pick, blue side FearX. Yep, I think I could call it right. And yeah, this was an absolute nothing. Oh, look at this. Look at how beautiful it is. By the way, they give you builds. They give you skilled builds, of course. They give you gold grabs and damage distribution. Whew. This is a killer website. And even head-to-head on different players, of course. How these players scaled up, of course, dominated. you know, and head to head. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It is a pretty cool website. But I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna spend like 20 minutes glazing our website. I'm gonna talk about the game and the notes. So this first game of the entire series was an absolute nothing burger. It was brutal. Ben was an absolute beast, and many people want to talk about Ben in a negative light. Consider how last year was not the best year in Ben's career. Many people wanted to replace Ben, of course, but he stuck to his gun. Credit to him, and he became probably one of the best top laners in all of the LPL, which is consider how his career trajectory up to last year was pretty much the most well earned praise he ever had. And in this game, Ben was cracked, absolute crack, especially on his signature jacks. 11, 1, and 2 with a 24k damage. 24k challenge with a 16.1k 1k goal lead at 282 CS per minute. That is insane. With a, by the way, 45% kill participation, which is not as much, but I think it's something, of course. On did fine, 21 assists, of course. Viper 6, 1, and 8 did well. Shun with 19 assists, Knight with fine with 12 assists. But this game was an absolute wrap. For the rest of the team, Diable did not do much. I mean, Vikla was absolute stinking the whole joint. 1, 5, and 6. Like, this brother's gonna have more stinker joints throughout the series, but we'll get to that later. This game was not even close to begin with. Like, look at the difference between the top laners, of course, in the laning phase, like dominate laning phase, dominate gold difference, dominate XP, first to level 2, and 14 plays to 3. Like, I can't believe it. 9.5 CS per minute over 7.16. This was domination in top lane from jump to jump. And now for the notes, it's that we of course unfortunately this was an L for the Riot production. I know this is probably like first day and first time in like a long while that Riot hosted a big event in Brazil. Although you can call the arena they're in a big event, of course, but I digress. And the production was not great. There were some sticky sounds, there were some muffling sounds, of course. There were times where the cast did not even speak, of course. Sound production is not great. Early jitters in day one. They got better in like the second series between G2 and Team Secret Wells, but it's only the first day, okay? It's only the first day. It happens sometimes. Sometimes they get it wrong, sometimes, but as the week goes on, they're probably gonna get it right some of the times. Of course. So I put the Riot production lull in that one. Then I got Vikla. What the hell was that in these very first? Oh my god, I remember this correctly. So he was pretty much like getting damage, of course. And then he was trying to get over the Raptors, of course. He was trying to hit over the Raptors so that he could flash over the wall. And then instead he got died by the Raptors. And that was just not it. Not it. And then I said, right, in Ben's Jax is scary as F. He was absolutely brutal. Raptor just in so many times in this entire game that he's already team of the game already. He was 4, 6, and 3. I swear to God, some of the 6 kill deaths was absolutely brutal, of course. And then we got Fearx knows that high quality league of international league is like. This is Fearx's very first international game, and it shows. It literally shows as Ben was absolutely dominating. Let me just see if I can write the KDA just a little bit. 11, 1, and 2. 11, 1. Okay, 11, 1, and 2. That's a KDA of 6.5. There you go. Okay, so I don't think there's nothing much to read about in this in particular game. That was game 1. Pretty much a typical BLG dump, although there's some inting, of course, by, of course, Viper, but we'll get on to that later. But BLG just dominated that game from start to finish, put the foot down on Fearx and saying, you do not belong here, we are better than you, and we're going to show you to you. And game 2 was nearly the same situation, Vikla, once again, I think I pronounced his name wrong, but still, Vikla, once again, what the hell was that? Another senseless death, of course. That night goal lead was huge at 1.k through goal lead. But the most important figure is that Diablo's goal lead is the same as Fearx, as long as Diablo has been fed. And by the way, I will. Everybody knows how it finished, but I will show you game 2, of course. And he was playing on Jinx. He was playing on Jinx, and it's pretty much simple. Protect Jinx, let him fall, let him carry, and then wait for his, Leroy Jenkins moment. In a good way, by the way. And he was, he was the only reason why this team won. Let's be honest, of course. But it was rough early on for Fearx, of course. And then I wrote is like Diablo goes too far and the rest of the team crumbles. Shun's Pantheon is a problem. And by the way, Shun's Pantheon, I gotta say, Shun was my player of the series, by the way. I think Shun was my player of the series throughout the entire series, of course. While the other, while Piper looking absolutely crap, of course. Shun stepped up. Shun was absolutely brilliant. 4-3-3, 13.9k damage. And he was absolutely brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant in that game. I was thinking at that time that Panther will look scary. Bin will get tanky. Knight will get its dudes on Aurora, of course. Which, by the way, he's also have a good game, of course. 5-2-2, 18.9 damage. I think he was pumping up damage, of course, in that team. So the Knight will get stronger. The Jun will get stronger. And I don't think even as good as Jinx, I do not see that happen. Even Vikla is getting solo kill on Annie. On Annie, for God's sakes. Like, that's not it. That is not it. So, it said Raptor redeems himself from his crappy first game by killing Knight, and then Fear X takes down 2 more and Tower. And just like that, the gold lead disappears. Like, they were having a slight gold lead. I mean, let's just look at the gold distribution, by the way. This was like almost a 3,000 gold lead right now. They have almost everything they have. They got Chemtech Drake, they got towers, they got even a red devil, and then it was like gone. Just gone. Right around, like, let's call it, this is the 18-minute mark. This is 18 minutes, 19, 20 minutes. Right around 20 minutes. 21, 22, 23. Yeah, around 21 minutes. The whole goal lead was gone. The whole goal lead is gone. And then, unfortunately for the young Diablo kid, for the young brave soul that's Diablo, he decided to chuck all that away before another Riot production lull. Okay, I had to stop mispronouncing my letters, of course. And then, unfortunately, he got punched by Knight for his greediness. And then right in front of Baron, BLG took Baron. And you're thinking to yourself, they're going to outscale, they're going to dominate. They had a 1,412 goal lead at that time. And you're thinking to yourself, Akeem, they're going to lose this game. They're going to be down 2-0, and there is nothing that Fearx can do. They're going to wall up, and they're going to get crushed by BLG. And that's that. And then, the 18-year-old kid who played for Fearx last year, who is now making himself a name throughout the wider League of Legends community, who has been pretty much the most hyped player that we ever seen since Uzi, which is saying much, of course, decided to put his team on his backpack and just went the F off. Rather than saying the whole thing, I will let the cast and duo of Atlas and Azael carry it through. Yep, yep. And you know what? You know what? It was so nice, I had to show you twice. But unfortunately, without any sound. Look, now I'm going to slow this down pretty well to just tell you how incredible that play is. So at that time, it was 25-04. You see the situation. It was a 1.5k goal lead. Fearx have Soul and Chemtech, of course. It was 4 minutes, and the objective does not even matter. And, BLG have a massive Baron push. So, Knight with the Aurora in between worlds, of course, trying Junk on Kellen, of course. Started off with Junk on Kellen. Then the Pantheon ult comes in. It was 3-on-3. Yeah, and then Sion brings in. And then the Nami wave, of course. And you can see this whole thing started off, well, great if you're BLG. They take down Clear. Yes, they were taking down Clear. His elbow is absolutely brutal right now. No, actually, that's not Clear. That's Raptor. Yeah, that was Raptor. Clear right now trying to absorb all the damage on the Renekton. He just whacking around, all this calling. But just look at Diable. I'm gonna slow this down, analyze the play. Just slow it down. Just admire this play right now. Look at Diable. Look at the spacing right now. Look at that guy's spacing. This spacing is unbelievable to look. He got Nami waved, but look at how far he was. He was so far. And then the most underrated play, of course, and I think the analysts talk about it, is Vikla with the Annie Tibbers combo. The Annie Tibbers combo. Just look how slow-mo. Let me just slow it down. On to on. I know he's just a support, but look at how incredible. Flash stun Tibbers. Brilliant work. And then it was Diablo show. Brilliant killing, of course, with the fish bones. And then, once Jinx got the first kill, she gets excited like that. Then, brilliant shot. Right down the middle, killing the Israel, killing Viper in one fell swoop. And then look at the kiting. Look at all that kiting. Look at all that damage. And then it was Fire City. Triple kill on the Panty. Triple kill. Brilliant and done. On Vipe. On Shun. He got a triple kill on Jun. And then it was like Quadrille. He was attacking Bin, by the way. He was attacking Bin. He didn't realize that Knight was there. And then it was Kellen, who, by the way, saw that Knight was there. And then I don't think he saw Knight was there. But Diablo, with the instinct, by the way. Like, Knight could have come in and just damaged the whole thing, killed the Jinx, and this whole play will be an absolute mute because if you look at the entire team, I don't think, Fearx had any damage but the Jinx. So he saw it, turn around, keep firing all that blast, kill the Sion on the back, and then finishes off, bang on the Aurora, bang on the Knight to deliver the very first stand pentakill ever in the history of the tournament, although it's only 2 years old. But I'm not saying this is the very first pentakill, but his very first international pentakill in front of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of viewers across the world, from his hometown in Korea to David Shinak, who even talked about it, to even myself. I wake up at like 6 a.m. in the morning for this series, of course. Poor me, of course. But it was all worth it. It was goddamn worth it. And my God. And by the way, the game ends. Like, the literal game ends. Look at the goalie, by the way. The goalie was around 1 point. Listen, the goalie was started at 1.5 in favor of BLG. It ended at pretty much the goalie at 1.8. And the game was over. Like that. Fearx won this series on the back of Diablo's incredible play on the Jinx. One of the best plays we have seen from First Stand so far. And it pretty much put his name on lights. Everybody's saying how great Diablo is. Everybody knows how great he is, including myself. And we just witnessed it in front of our own eyes. That was cool, ladies and gentlemen. So game 2 goes to Fearx. And yes, easily Diablo is my player of the game. 8, 3, and 4 on the Jinx. So 4 KDA, of course. And he was brilliant. So we come down from that high and into game 3. BLG got rattled, of course, by the young, fearless Fearx team, pun intended. And once again, Vikla gets another. Oh my God, Vikla is having a stinker. Vikla is having an absolute stinker in this entire match. Goodness gracious, that's 3 times he get killed in 3 straight games. 3 straight times he get killed in his straight games. Let me tell you the notes, and then we get to the overall match. So Diable gets a 1-for-1 at the bot lane. He tried to kill the Yuumi, but got outplayed and died. Yes, Zeri Yuumi exists. In fact, can I tell you something? This is a little hot take, of course. There's a rule here, and I'm going to tell you the rules. If you play Yuumi on that team, you lose. I don't care what comp you are. If you're playing Zeri, fine. But if you play Yuumi in that team, I said your team loses. You have no chance. FF, just get out of here. If somebody plays Yuumi on that team, just unplug the headphones, uninstall the game, turn it off, walk away, and just don't even bother with League of Legends. Play Pretty Derby, I guess. Like, I get Yumi got, neutered, of course, in the League of Legends stance, but even then, like, come on, man. I get understanding and scaling to it, but come on, man. Come on, man. And Knight once again played fine, 4-4-1. He did okay. Like Shun, 5-5-5. But neither of them did anything good. Neither of them did anything good. But again, I digress. Once again, an incredible play by Diablo with an Ash arrow, of course. By the way, I will. Okay, I know, I'm interrupting a little bit, but I just want to look at the other cup. By the way, Ash Seraphine, really big thing. 16 assists by Kellen. Jesus Christ. And we're gonna talk. And while Vikla did an absolute oopsie plays, of course, this guy solo redeemed himself in more ways than one. Then we continue, of course, and then of course, insane team fight on the Herald. BLG neutralized Raptor. Meanwhile, Diablo hit the arrow while Vikla killed Bin. Viper tried to kill the Ash, but thanks to Cannon Shield and deliver a kill to Viper. Again, like I said, Seraphine with his shielding was pretty much instrumental. Vikla and Viper is battling to see who is the team of the series, and I am all for it. They're having the absolute mid-off, of course. Then, Vikla instantly redeemed himself, by the way, with Mel, and got a 1v3 outplay and a kill in the ball lane. And I was like, okay, here we go. Vikla's redeeming himself. Claire is absolutely being a little tanky. It's like too much tankiness. That's Cassante, by the way. Yeah, make sure. And Raptor died in the later stages of the fight, only for Vikla to pick one back. Okay. And then Diablo, as we all know, 18-year-old, great player, of course. But remember, he's a rookie, and he's going to make oopsies like that. Like he didn't realize that Viper has ult. He tried to get a kill, of course. He tried to get a kill, like 1v3, get a kill, probably on the Viper or the Yuumi, of course. But unfortunately got shut down, of course. And once that Ash got shut down and, Viper gets a kill, it feels like, oh boy, this is bad. We all know what Zeri is capable of. Of course. Then, Fears got Baron. Viper decided to go Leroy Jenkins on the team. Going straight in. Like, I can tell you right now, the amount of times Viper decided to, go full Jenkins of this, and he just dies. Like, Viper just like ints, man. Viper just working for the Korean government, I guess. He's working for Kespa right now. He and the K-pop demon artists are probably like working for some kind of secret tech, I guess. You can make your own theories, of course. Now, I was going to go to an Oscar thing, but I'm not going to do that. Vikla turns around his crap performance so far this series with a quadra kill. Huh, look at that. Crap guy actually do something. Great. BLG decided to go Hail Mary. Vikla gets a kill. Great, but unfortunately, we get the Penify Center moment, of course. We get the Certified Zeri moment. Triple kill, of course. And you're thinking, uh-oh, Zeri's going to scale. Zeri's going to scale. And then Kellen and Diablo versus Ben and Viper and on in a ring around the Rosie around the lift. It's like going around and around and like both of them on the opposite sides of the rift, of course. And then of course, Fire X, Vikla kills Ben, and then Knight gets a double kill. Viper and Jun tries to kill Raptor, only for Vikla to deliver again, only for Shun to shut him down, only for Claire to kill her to shut down Shun, and tries to kill on, but got away on the back of Ari. Again, this cat is poisonous. The game is getting interested so far. Mountain Dragon Soul for Fear-X. And then, at the end of the game, they tried to kill Claire. Like, BLG tried to kill Claire, but Claire is just so damn tanky. Like, I swear to God, if you have a Cassante that is, like, having this kind of armor, at 30 minutes in, you're rather FF. You would rather FF right now because, my God, this guy is a raid boss, an absolute raid boss. And I don't think nobody can kill him. He got a quadra kill, which, by the way, Vikla and Claire getting quadra kills. Like, who saw that coming? Not me. And just like that, Game 3 went to Fear-X. And by the way, we got a LOL production on the Riot side because they were showing the, sticky pictures, of course, at the end. But I digress. Day one stuff, I guess. Vigla was the player of the game, 10-5-5 with a 3 KDA. And all of a sudden, Fearx in their very first international series are up 2-1 against BLG. Now, if you learn anything from like an inexperienced team taking on a well-established team, two things might happen. Either the inexperienced team will find a way and pull off the most miraculous upset ever, or the more experienced team will compose themselves, calm down, play like themselves, and went on to overwhelm the youthful team, which, by the way, playing in a fearless draft, that so many champions will get picked off left, right, and center that they're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel of champions they haven't even, known about. So, this is a troubling worrying if you're a Fearx fan. But you're up 2-1. It's nothing to worry about. There's game 4. And Vikla gets killed again.
Good Lord Almighty, somebody send this brother some help. He is not worth it.
In fact, you're an LCS fan right now. You probably know Vikla from the FlyQuest days, and he ain't it, man. He is just not it. He started off great, but then fell off a cliff, I guess. I get the end. Yeah. Now, thank God the shouldn't get the kill this time. But my God, if it goes a Nightman, I will be tilted out of my mind. Raptor caught it with a pillar. Bin looked screwed, decided to TP away, but the news still screwed it up his own wave. That's fine. Shun dived to top and Bin killed clear. And you're thinking to yourself, yep, 3 kills to none. It's looking really, really dire right now for Fearx. BLG's early game pays dividend as it got another kill. Then Diablo's aggressiveness gets the silver. But unfortunately, he is Diablo. He's a young kid. Got himself into trouble. Can kill him. And then, I think I typed it wrong. My God, I was so speedy. I was typing it wrong. He got killed with Kellen himself, of course. So, huge hot tech over by Kellen. By the way, he's playing Renata Glass, so as you know. Saves Raptor from that. Raptor gets the kill, of course, on the night. And you're thinking, okay, we're in business. But Shun. He was my player of the series for a reason. Got a big monster team fight. Get 2 kills by BLG. And that Makai looked absolutely scary. Like, the moment they lock in Makai, I was thinking to myself, yeah, this guy is going to be a raid boss in the jungle. Vigla ints again, right in front of Viper, but the game was pretty much cooked at this point. Shun was too much of Fearx to handle. 21-minute ace. We all know Silver Scream's going to come. And Fearx trying to get the Hail Mary, but unfortunately, not good. So this game was pretty much over at around, 25.34 minutes. Cool. So Shun was incredible. 5-0-3 on the Makai. He was my player of the series. Yep, he was. Incredible. Knight did okay. Viper did fine. Beside that one oopsie, of course. I think he was brilliant. I think this is probably like Viper's best game in probably the entire series, which is saying something, of course. And yeah, this was a Shun show from the start. Nothing that Diablo can do. Vikla did nothing much. But Galio, it was a nothing burger. This game was a nothing burger, of course. And this series now have the following. We have a pentakill, 3 quadra kills, and 1 game 5. Are you not entertained? To quote Gladiators, by the way. Another Oscar Dollins. I will talk about the Oscars later on, of course, after this whole show is over and get my thoughts about it. But for now, we're heading to game 5 of this series. And the drafts got wackier. So, game 5 was, we all know how, the scraping the bottom of the barrel for drafts. But this is wacky as heck. You got Fearx with Clear facing off against Bin, which is, Kennen in a range matchup is not great. Not great at all. You got Raptor and you got Zoe Vikla. And you're thinking, oh, this Fearx team cannot get any worse. Try Jin Rakan. Jin Rakan. Why the frick would we have to put Jin? You're giving Diablo Jin. I'm sorry, but any person who plays Jin, unless you're skilled and cracked, not going to win any of the games. Not going to win any games. Like, oh my goodness gracious. And listen, I understand that, this team has not been to a game 5 in international events before. They have never been pushed in terms of like drafting and all kinds of stuff. So Yep, this is what happens. This is what literal happens when the inexperience and the lack of drafting just shows. It just shows right in your faces, of course. And BLG's drafting was even more weirder. Shun in the jungle, Knight on Morgana. And here's a fun fact, by the way. The very first Morgana game, by the way, took place in 2015 MSI between EDG and T1. SKT1, by the way. Do you know what the series is famous for? Yes, that's right, Akeem. The famous LeBlanc Faker game, in which LeBlanc was undefeated on Faker, and then, of course, EDG played Morgana, shut down Faker throughout the entire game, and EDG became the very first LPL team to win an international event. I know they won Worlds like 3 years later, but that's beside the point. A little history legend, of course. I think the casters announced it. I think it was Atlas and Azil talk about it, of course. But that's a little, League of Legends nugget for you guys. Then Viper played Clayton, cool. And then On, by the way, plays Camille. Yes, Camille support with Flash and Ignite. What the hell is he cooking right now? I mean, Jesus Christ. All right, anyways, let's get to the game. BLG trying to do something crazy with Camille support, and it backfires with Diablo getting first blood of it, so not good. Dan Fickler, what was that? Good news is he's not dead. The bad news is Raptor is. So hey, at least Fickler did not die this much. So that's great. Good news. Fantastic. Unfortunately. And then Raptor, unfortunately, decided to become Fickler, and then Nice kills him. And then, oh boy, downhill. We're going downhill. Oh, FearX, we're going downhill. We're going absolutely downhill. Then FearX tries to get a kill, but instead Kellen gets ignited and then got pushed into the wall by Lollipop Poppy and dies. And by the way, guys, I just saw it today, and I will tell you one thing. If you thought Aunt Gladys from, Weapons was scary, and by the way, Amy Madigan, congratulations on winning an Oscar. And my way, she deserved it for that performance alone. But if you thought that is scary, Jesus effing Christ, look at that splash off of Poppy. You're thinking, oh, it's just an innocent Poppy, of course, with a lollipop, not too much. But look at the eyes. Look at those eyes. Those eyes just stare at your soul. The whole splash art, the whole coloring. It's a nightmare field. It's absolute nightmare field. And we're not even Halloween yet. We're not even 7 months to Halloween, for God's sakes. Now, thank God they changed the splash art. And also that, little Poppy, the lollipops are kind of scary. At least the splash art is way better than this. It's way better than this. Like, go down to the comments. Do you think which one is scary? Lollipoppy, or Aunt Gladys? Lollipoppy or Aunt Gladys? And by the way, I would love to see a prequel. I would love to see a prequel with Aunt Gladys in there. It's gonna be fun. I love it. But I tell you what, man, I would rather get possessed by Aunt Gladys and be part of a killing mission than getting walloped by this old splash art by Poppy. I'm just saying that right now. Like, ugh, give me the nightmares. Jesus. Anyways, we'll close that off and we continue with the series. Yeah, this is scary, but in a good way. The Lollipoppy is not scary. Yeah. So onwards, FearX tries to find a play in the dragon, gets knocked up, and then Raptor tries to kill On, but got ignited and dies. They did a 4-man knockoff, of course, and that happens. Then Claire got a huge kill onto Bin. On killed Kellen in the bot lane. 3v1 died to kill Viper, which was successful by Raptor. So, okay, FearX is back in the game. And then we got a punch, counter punch. On kills Kellen. Meanwhile, Claire and Vikla come out to kill Bin. And then we got another punch, counter punch, which is like a couple of kills, of course, going like back and forth. And this game is getting absolutely tense. And then FearX are fighting back hard in the mid lane dragon. Fighting like, okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. FearX might do something here. Then On finds a way to kill Diable. FearX trying to kill Viper, but we're out of reach, and he just free fire and he dies. But Jun and Bin are massive. Yeah, so this is what happens when you can't kill, Viper, who by the way has a stinker of the entire series so far. Probably I think based on the community, he's like the only person that did not perform well in that team. Like that's pretty much saying something. But he did fine. He did good on Caitlyn, of course. He did good. And then once he spaced out, not get CC'd and all kinds of stuff, which by the way, I think if you look at this composition by FearX, it's like there is no CC other than the Kellen Maelstrom and the Zoe Pop Blossom. And by the way, if you're trying to pop blast, trying to like pop bubble, Unite will Black Shield the whole thing. It's impossible. And they got Shun with the the Poppy engages and all kind of stuff. It's a too much. It's pretty much too much. And by the way, this is the like 3 out of 5 like arcane kind of thing. 3 out of 5. Yeah. And then once Killing got fed and once they got too much, it was just too much for Fear X to go through. Lack of damage to Fear X, overwhelming vomits. I think their biggest goal lead was, at the end of the game with 15k goal lead. It was 15, 25, 23. And that was that. This game was kind of like a little bit even to like over in just like minutes. It was even for about 18 minutes, and then it was like nothing. Just scaling upwards, and then pretty much nothing. So just like that, BLG won this series 3-2. Sean was my player of the game with Poppy 4, 1-17 and 21. And now it is time for my 3 stars of the series. I will give it up to Shun because I think Shun was the most impactful player on this entire team, this entire series. He was great on the Poppy. He was. Let me just look at the overall score. See how we did. He was great into Pantheon, but it was like the Diablo moment, of course. He was not so good on the Wukong, but he was fine. He was clutch on the Makai, and he was good on the Poppy, of course. He was instrumental in 3 out of 5 games. And he was instrumental in that, the first game, of course, with the Jarvan, of course. 19 assists over the Vi. That was incredible. So I put Sean my first star. My second star goes to Knight. He was solid throughout the entire game. He was solid, of course, with his Rise game was good, and then the Aurora game was incredible. But of course, as I said, the Diablo moment happened. He was pretty good until that moment. Then the Ari was okay, but fine, but never impactful, of course, in some cases. Then it was decent on LeBlanc, never otherworldly. And then, of course, decent on LeBlanc, but never otherworldly. 16 assists. In fact, he gone to, 27 assists in the last 2 games. He was solid. He was providing the team something. And, it is what it is. Great stuff. The third star, I will give it to Diablo. He was pretty much the only player on this team to even give a damn. And to be honest, this Fear X team is pretty much simple. Wherever Diablo goes, so does the entire team. And it shows. Like, look at the ratings. Like, everybody's not even have a... Like, Kellen was the second best rating player, but Diablo was close to 8. In fact, he has the highest rater than Viper has. That's how good Diablo is. So I decided to give him, like, a little respectful third star to him. He was not so great at the Kaiser. He got the Jinx moment, of course, with the pentakill. He was brilliant on Ashe with a 12 assist. Of course, he cleared an incredible arrow. Not so good on Yunara. And then Jhin is like, Jhin. Yeah. So, and I decided to give you Team of the series. I give it to Viper and Vikla. I decided to give you to the 2 Vs. Because V that stands for Volga. That was absolute Volga from both of these players. Like, Viper nearly cost them the entire series, for God's sakes. And Vikla, oh my God, Vikla, man. He's just not so great, man. And this series, if you are a Fear X fan, because it is your first international series, you should be proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself. You've been in the first international event. Nobody was expecting you guys to do that. You're probably like the 4th best team of the top 4 teams in the LPL LCK hierarchy. And for them to challenge BLG like that and give them a scare, it's something to be proud of. It's something to be good. We know what Diablo is capable of. The rest of the team needs to step up. Of course, it can't be Diablo alone. But I think if for the first international tournament, you should be proud of yourselves. You did put up a great effort and was so proud. And credit to them. But for BLG, my goodness gracious, this was a stinker. Viper nearly cost you the series. Bin and Knight did okay. They did good. But if you want to challenge Gen G, you have to be more cleaner than this. And they were not in some cages, and it was nauseating, especially in games 2 and 3. They were not on the races, of course. And it's just, BLG have problems. Which I'm not sure they can fix, because I don't think it's too late for fix, but they need to step up to the plate in order for them to challenge Gen G. I still have BLG trying to get the finals, but if performance like this is less promising, then we have problems. But then we have genuine problems. So that is the B Fear X BLG series. BLG won this series 3-2 to end to the winners portion of the group stage draw. The winners section of Group A, of course. Joining them in the surprise of to no one were G2. And by the way, let's see if I have time. I got like almost 20 minutes. So listen, this series is nothing too much to write about. So I will take a little bit of break, of course, drink some water, and talk about the G2 series, of course. Okay, so welcome back. G2 versus Team Secret Wales. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to talk about this series that much. You look at the score line, and by the way, it took place 90 minutes. Wow, 90-minute game. If you look at the score line, it's saying 3-0 G2. Easy sweep, no problem. The reality, though, it was not a cleaner sweep as many people thought. Let's just break it down, of course. Let's just break it down, all the things that happened. So, Caps, the mid laner, of course, got the first blood of the series with a kill over Dyra and some beautiful moves over Skewmon. And by the way, you'll hear Skewmon's name a lot throughout the series because he was instrumental in that entire series. Team Secret Wales make a comeback as soon as his soul makes 6, immediately kill punish BB in the top lane, and BB having a stinker of a game. Probably a stinker of a series by community standards, of course. But I digress. Labrov was feeling himself too much and get ganged by Bai, got out by the magical journey. Meanwhile, Skewmon got killed by Hitso, and Pun fires the Ornhorn and knocks up BB. Hitso kills Caps, BB, but Caps unleash a double kill into the grub/Rift Herald area, and then TSW bring the blood to LEC versus Champs. We all know what the Vietnamese team or the LCP is looking like. They're aggressive. They're into your face. They're gonna drag you down, of course, into the mud, and just kicking and screaming until they earn the victory, of course. Now, sadly, of course, it didn't happen in this series, but they are going to be a fun team to trying to do analyze, of course, and trying to feel like if any team faces up against them, watch out. They're gonna bring it on from minute 1 to minute 0. They know to do that. Labrov wanders in the bush and dies to Bai. Then the Caps and Skewmon show is online and in charge, and TSW just lose their heads. Caps was brilliant on the Aria, of course. Skewmon was also instrumental in that game, of course. They were on point, and Team Secret Wales just God. They got aced, of course, in a couple of minutes, and it was ugh. Broken Blade TP sucks. Yeah, the classic TP sucks, of course, by Medic years ago. And then forces Secret Wales to fight, punishes him and the entire G2 team as Dyer gets a triple kill and stops G2's Dragon stacking. Once again, BB just absolutely ins for the entire team. Team Secret Wales punished an over-aggressive Hans, but G2 collapsed quickly and won the team fight afterwards. Dai tries to fight Caps 1v1, but loses the battle and his life as G2 picks up 2 quick kills. And then Skewmon was absolutely godsend. Caps was also good, of course. G2 secured Brianna. TSW kills Hans, but the wall and damage was too much for them. And G2 wins game 1 in 29 minutes? Yeah. So Broken Blade on the Rumble is just not it. He was okay with 9 assists, but he is he was not great. He was not great. But the Skewmon Caps show was unbelievable. You wanted to talk about the most dynamic jungle mid in all the West right now, besides besides Inspired and Saint. But if you wanted to talk about the most dynamic mid jungle duos right now, Caps and Skewmon is it. And by the way, there was people saying that Skewmon and Caps should be signed for 2027, which is it's weird, but it is what it is. They were incredible. 12-1 and 22. Whew. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Cass was incredible, of course. He was my player of the game, of course, with that Ari performance. 7-0-12 was incredible. And yeah, I got nothing else to say, although, Fearx did their best. Hitso did his best. Dai was incredible. Dai was good, of course, with the Aurora. They did try to come back in the game, mostly by BB's mistake, but they did good. Onward to game 2, and it was a chaotic game. Lots of notes. So, BB and Pun goes 1v1, and Pun wins the battle. Yeah, solo kill on BB. Yikes. Dyer solo kills Caps and lives, only to die to Skewmon. I mean, he was admiring that glory for 5 minutes and then get killed. Then Team Secret Wales gets in and in the mud with G2 in the bot lane, and only gets a 2v1 kill score and 1k goal lead. Hans and Caps try to kill the rest to no avail. So, yep. Labrov kills Eddie. Oh, yeah, because, of course, Labrov flashed into, I think, let me just look. He flashed into Eddie and kills him. Yep, Braum just literally kills Eddie, which is fine. Then Hans fired an arrow across mid to get Dyer and Skumon, finish him off. Hitso kills Caps. And then the crazy things happened. He was about to get killed, of course, went to the blast code, escaped by the blast code, and got executed. Unbelievable play by Hitso. And by the way, I think you're going to say this, that Hitso was probably like the best player on that losing team. He was the best player on that game for the losing team of T2 Wells. Then it goes by, goes forward too much, and Hans Sama takes the freebie. G2 cleans, dives into the bottom tower and delivers 2 kills. Labrov and Hans punishes Eddie and gets MF. Pun tries to kill Hans by way of the Ragnarok, but Labrov's spellbook exhaust was key to the fight, and it was the most important key because without that, Hans would have been dead. Hans had the fancy feat. Pun loses Ragnarok. Cap swooped down with the hero's entrance, by the way. Yep, and immediately Hans and Skumon pick up 2 kills and swing the advantage heavily into G2's favor. You think to yourself, okay, G2 is going to win this game, right? Right? But we all know what G2 does with early games, and in late games, they're not that much. Because Skumon gets a kill on Pun after the latter kills BB. Caps and Dyer having a tasty 1v1. G2 gets Drake, but Team Secret Wells in favor of Hitso finding Hans in the backline with Nafiri, of course, and the Hounds kill on Sama, turn the fight around, and all of a sudden Team Secret Wells won the fight. Oh my god! Then BB outplays the 2v1 in the ball lane, and then Bear Trap on the rope kills Pun. And by the way, that's the ability for Kled, by the way. And he was not having a good Kled game until that point. Then Hitso went crazy with the dog. Kills 4 members of G2. I think it should have been a quadra kill, but then again, got a massive gold swing. Kill off the Dragon Skeleton on G2, and all of a sudden, okay, the game is even. Then, TCK Wells, even the kill count at 2-2, gets another Hextech Drake. And all of a sudden, the scaling on G2 is getting bigger and bigger and bigger for them to overcome. And I was thinking, oh my god, TCK Wells might win this game. And then get another 2v2 kill. And now it's like, okay, this is fun. This is absolutely fun. But unfortunately, G2 decided, we have enough of this nonsense. And it's time to end the fun. G2 went up the Baron, of course. Gets the Baron based on BB. Then Ash Arrow fires and Braum ulti on the Nautilus of all people. I don't know why. Then Hitso diving, got quickly bursted, killed by Skumon, and then all the Whales collapsed. 3 people got killed by the Whales team. Then G2 walks on top with the Baron buff, ends the game, and for the first time all year, Hans Sama has probably the best game of the entire year. 7-10 on Ash, 8.5. I wonder what other performance he did. Not much. Skumon did okay. Caps did fine. BB did not that much, of course. Labrov was okay, but this was Hans Sama. This was the very first Hans Sama good game all year, and I cannot be happy for him. He has been pretty much mid throughout the entire tournament, the entire LEC versus, but this guy finally comes up and played probably the best game of the series and also the best game of the year. And Hitso, by the way, he did not no slouch. He was pretty under course. Killed on someone a few times. Went 10-2-6. But it was an 8 KDA, 84% participation. It was nearly bringing Team Secret Wells back from the brink. He was nearly did that. But G2's quick decision making and all kinds of stuff was the reason why they won the game. Look at the goal graph. It was like pretty much in Secret Wells' favor. Then G2 had the big goal lead at 3,000. Then it was down again. Then it was up again. And it was right in the Team Secret Wells' favor until they got the Baron. And then the entire game just ends. What a back and forth chaotic game by these two teams, as per usual when it comes to like the LCP and aggression. And then game 3 was even more crazier. That the Broken Blade played Shen, and it was brutal. Absolutely brutal. Do not look at his 9-2-6 scoreline and saying, oh, he plays a great Shen game. It was not that. Let me tell you. Pun solo kills BB. Hans dies to Dyer, and BB dies again, this time to Pun again. So that 3 kills to none so far. Then, the classic of failures, red, white, don't fight. Labrov knows that. Then BB got his revenge and he killed Pun for the much-needed shutdown and stand united to kill Dyer. So he's got, pretty much insurance. T-Secret Wells finds Labrov wandering in the red buff area. Skumon got caught by Dyer, and then Dyer kills Caps. Hansan was so close to killing BI, but got killed by him into the Dragon Pit, of course. Dyer kills Labrov, And right now, early on, G2 are in really big trouble. It was 7 kills to 2 early on. And, they're bringing the aggression. They're bringing the fight like every LCP team does with some consequences. The double-edged sword of being an aggressive team is like you're getting kills and gold and having a good lead, but being too much will hurt you in the long run. And as we continue, Dyer got caught by Caps. Cue the Benny Hill music. Da 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 da. I'm not gonna do that. As he tried to get escape from Duskumon, but dies in the end. Then Broken Blade gets a 1v2 kill on Pawn and escapes. Caps nearly dies by Dyer, but escapes with a slither of health and kills him by the Sand Shoulders with the help of Skumon. By the way, I will say this, that Skumon was the unsung MVP of that entire game. 4-2 and 11, not that much in terms of KPA, but the calmness, the presence when all of G2 is having like, the Donald Glover pizza meme when everybody was on fire. Yeah, that was that. Skumon was the one that, calmed all fires, and he was brilliant in that Trundle game, of course, getting pillars, getting kills, getting all that kind of stuff. He was the unsung MVP of this entire game. He was cool. I already mentioned that. So, let's continue. Top lane fight was insane when nobody dies. Like, literally nobody dies. Dyer kills Skumon, grabs Shelly, and then Hitso with the, what the hell, Hitso? Hitso, man. He dies, in the weirdest way possible, and that's not good. Then Broken Blade kills Pawn. Then BB solo kills Pawn. And it's like, okay, yeah, he's back in the game. He's back in it. And then G2 just absolutely crushed the whales. Like, they're serving up, whale food, of course, in the, the fish market in Seattle, of course, or anywhere in the seafood market, of course. They're just having, fried whales and all kinds of stuff. I wonder, do they cook whales? By the way, let me just do something. Is cooking whales allowed? Is cooking whales allowed? Does cooking whales actually exist? I want to know, as a curious person. Yeah, it's a meat food in Japan, Norway, Iceland, Greenland, and in Alaska. All right, cool. So G2 just serving up whales food. Marvelous. Incredible. Yeah. So that was that. Skumon finds Dyer at the top, towers him and kills him. G2 attempts Baron. T Secret Wells decided to F around and then found out. 3 Wells died for Pros and Baron for G2. Then BB nearly kills Pawn. Shen was incredible, of course. He started off badly, but started off great. Then Secret Wells fought hard, but unfortunately G2 just absolutely too much for them. Game over. G2 won the game and the series 3-0, and they won it in 27-46, 20 kills to 12. And yeah, it was all Team Secret Wells early on. It was all Team Secret Wells early on, but the aggression of Team Secret Wells was just too much for them, and it cost them the entire game. As you look at the goal graph, it was all G2 till the end. As I mentioned, Skumon was the most, the MVP of this. Dyer was pretty good, of course, bringing back, of course, 7-6-1 on the Silas, by the way. But Skumon was the calm in the storm with 11 assists. He was instrumental to G2's victory. Get a jungler who can be calm and cool, collected. Consider this is his only second year with the team. He was incredible, of course. He was incredible. He was my player of the series, by the way, and also my player of the game. On the 4-2-11 Trundle at 7.5. And by the way, here's a 3-star of the series. I mentioned Skumon, of course. He was brilliant. He was instrumental to that team's success and that victory, of course, with probably the best jungler on the team by a mile. Probably the best player on G2 team is a mile. Cap did okay. He was solid, of course, throughout the entire series. He was great on Ahri. And Hanzama did okay. He did good on the Ashe, the only good game that entire series, but he was fine. He was doing nothing much. Eddie did not have a great series, in my opinion. He did not have an impact in this entire season. We saw what Hitsu has done. We saw what Eddie has done. We saw what Pun did, of course, in that in series. Eddie in that bot lane, did not give me something. Did not have confidence, of course. And that's tough when you face up against a really good team like G2, of course. But yeah, it was dire. So there's that. G2 will face off against BLG in the winner's bracket. And then Fearex will take off against Team Secret Wells in the loser's bracket. Tomorrow, by the way, we got Gen.G versus JDG. And by the way, I put JD Gen.G to win 3, not 3-1 in my predictions. Everybody was saying that this is probably going to be a stump, or that JDG with the composition with the players that they have are not looking great, of course. Hongkyu is fine, Junji is fine, but whether he goes and JDG follows, Gala has to step up. Gala has to literally step up in order to do that. He has to step up. His entire team needs to do something. Xin Shao was back then was an absolute inter, of course, and then he turned around and now he's going to come in a decent team. This has to be a top 8 masterclass. This has to be a top 8 masterclass in order to pull off the upsets against pretty much the 5 best player on the Rift all across the board. Genji is going to win this one. I think I have them 3-1 in this scoreline. I have them in my predictions. Let me just look at my predictions. By the way, I was decently good in my predictions. Yeah, clean sweep in all my predictions, by the way. Except the one that Fearx only won a game by them. But other than that, pretty much good scoreline so far. Yeah, so I got I said it was 3-0 Genji. But I feel like consider how today went and consider that, I will give them the honest opinion and give JDG a game, of course. So I'll have them 3-1. And then of course, Lion take on Loud. Now, if you are an LCS fan, this is probably the one match you are feared with. It may send Lion favored by 90%, but consider how the America's Cup is, and because the fandom is in the Sao Paulo, by the way, they're all favoring Loud. Now, Inspired and Dokla, who, by the way, Dokla is still doing vlogs with props to the man, of course. He's doing his best. They have to carry this whole team. Saint, we all know, is good right now. Berserker and Alice have to step up. And we all know what Loud is. They're going to be passionate. They're going to be they're going to be loud, as the name said. And they're going to beat up the chest and go crazy. They have nothing to lose. And by the way, there's an article talking about the passion, about the whole thing. I would love to read it, but unfortunately I have no time, of course. But you can read it out and talk about it. They're talking about like the passion and all kinds of experience. That's something that the LCS does not have. When the LCS loses it feels like the end of the world. When CBLOL loses, it doesn't feel like the end of the world. They're going to give it their best and all kinds of stuff. So that's what Lion's going to do. I will give Lion the win and having a 3-0, but anything but, and it'll be like crisis mode. Absolute crisis mode, of course. So that concludes, by the way, the whole very first episode of First Stand Report. A lot of notes to be taken, a lot of credible plays, and a lot of stuff from the very first day of First Stand 2026. Do you like this long form thing? Do you think I'm going to make it shorter? If you want, leave down to the comments below, and I will probably respond in like 20 years, I guess. And also, let me just, this is going to be a busy week for me because Champions League, and then, of course, my favorite time of the year, March freaking Madness. And it's not just the men, of course. The women have made March Madness. But it's going to be a crazy week. So sometimes I might not do this report as much, and you might get to see it in short form for comment attempt. Others, you might get to see me more, probably at the nighttime. But I'll be watching like a lot of basketball throughout this entire weekend. So yeah, anyways, thank you all for watching this entire episode. Like, comment, subscribe for more of this and all the League of Legends stuff. And I will catch you on the flip side. See you tomorrow. Ciao.